Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into O'Neill's Grill for our weekly Fan and Press Luncheon with JMU head football coach Everett Withers as the Dukes are entering into week number 9 of the college football season. Of course, this past week, truly a historical week. As Reese Davis of College Game Day stated, the Dukes had game day on campus, and they showed off the hidden gem of the JMU football program and the university as it was brought to the national limelight with the exposure this past weekend. And Coach, I know that there are a lot of people behind the scene that helped to bring that here to the university and to Harrisonburg, and folks that you'd like to acknowledge as well.
Yeah, thanks, Kurt. I'd like to thank, the JMU community, the students, our administration, our athletic administration, our school administration for doing a first-class job this past weekend. It was unbelievable. When you deal with, football at a high level, those are what football Saturdays should look like. And I guess the challenge is, can we enhance it and make it better? Because that's all that's what we try to do, is enhance things and make it better. But heads off to a great Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday week for JMU and the community, the fans who stayed the entire game. Unbelievable. So, again, it proves that it can be done. It also proves that we play Villanova in a few weeks. And it also proves that we have the capacity to do whatever we want to do around here. So, again, hats off to the JMU community.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. Now we go with your typical weekly open with a look at your personnel injury report and your team honors.
Yeah, I will tell you, when we lose, we don't give out honors. We're not into giving out lollipops after games, so it's not our deal. So I will go with the injuries. First of all, coming out of the game, we have three injuries coming out of the game. Charles Tutt broke his left fibula. He'll be out. He will have surgery on Thursday. John Miller, who was hurt in the ball game. I know people who were at the game and saw it on TV. John's actually doing a lot better. He's doing good. It's actually more of a muscle injury in his trap area. They're doing some precautionary tests. He's going to see a spine specialist just as a precaution. He's been released. He was back in the team meeting yesterday. So John's doing fine. He will be out this week. We will not attempt to put him back in football activity for a while. And Vad Lee is being examined, having an MRI on his left foot. He's out indefinitely right now. So it'll be week to week with Vad, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, Coach. So we looked just a couple of things on this past weekend's ball game. Coach, at what point in the game did it?
I told the staff this yesterday. They were more physical than we were. They controlled both line of scrimmages. I thought somewhere, really, to be honest with you, somewhere in the middle of the second quarter that we were in trouble. Because we couldn't stop the run. So I'm real honest about those kind of things. And I told our team on Friday it was going to be the team to control the line of scrimmages that we're going to win the game. They control both line of scrimmages, therefore you win the game. Great job by the running back. I could have ran through some of the holes that he ran through. So, I'm not going to take anything away from them. They did an unbelievable job of controlling the line of scrimmage and doing a great job with play-action pass on early downs. They had a great plan. We cannot turn the ball over, and we cannot give people short fields and not get off the field on third down. Bottom line in the ball game.
As you said, their defense was better than your offense, because if you look at your offense, it was actually an extremely efficient day for the offense, and the points and the yardage you put up, considering that you only had the ball for the 22 minutes.
Yeah, we did some really good things offensively. We moved the ball. We didn't run the ball as efficiently as we'd like to run it. We had a couple drives there in the second half that stalled, that were probably self-inflicted wounds with penalties. So we have to, again, those are one of the things, some of the things that we have to continue to eliminate for us to continue to get better as a football team. A guy told me a long time ago, there's an art to listening. And if you listen to me each week when I stand up here, I talk about we're a long way from being where we want to be. I think now people will say that probably now, that we're not where we want to be. And I think I've said that for maybe 8 straight weeks. So, we'll continue to work and get better. We got a big challenge this week, so we got to get better.
You've also said that getting off blocks and being more physical was something you needed to do on Saturday. Coach, how do you reach and what is your standard of physical play, and how do you train your team to reach that standard of physical play and maintain it, basically?
Yeah. Well, we practice really hard, we don't allow a lot of people at our practices, but it's a pretty intense practice when we practice. We practice a lot against ourselves where we service each other, and we go full speed, everything but to the ground. It's a mindset. It's a standard that we want to do. We want to be the most physical team on the field. We weren't Saturday. That's a problem. I take full responsibility for the way we played offensively, defensively, and special teams. So the first person I look at is me. I always look at how we practiced. Was it anything? We had a really good practice last week. We had a physical practice last week on Tuesday and Wednesday. I thought we had great mental days on Thursday and Friday. So again, I guess when you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds, sometimes you have to, you have to come into account sometimes. Some things not going to go the way you want them to go.
Do you ever acquire a sense of that, or does that not emerge until game time? As you say, you practiced well last week. Can it surprise you? Is that kind of the X factor, the unknown that can occur on any given Saturday?
Well, I will tell you this. It's if anybody knew the answer, they would ball it and sell it. There's a bunch of coaches today having press conferences looking for different jobs because of 18 to 22-year-olds. So I will tell you this: it's not. If it's something, everybody would put it in a bottle and sell it. It's a great thing about college football. It's really unique. You're dealing with kids that have a lot of other things on their mind sometimes, and sometimes it's things that aren't conducive to helping you win ball games.
Well, as they say, it is unscripted drama, and that is part of it. You never know how it is going to play out. Let's turn it over to other members of the media here today as we're at O'Neill's Grill for our weekly Fan and Press Luncheon with JMU football coach Everett Withers. Gentlemen.
Coach, I realize I asked this after maybe a not-so-great game. How did the team respond yesterday in practice from the loss?
Really well. Yesterday was a hard day. It's typically when you lose, it's not real warm and fuzzy on Sunday. It was a really hard day for them. We're very direct. I'm a very direct coach. I tell you when you screw it up. I tell them when I screw it up. Very direct Sunday. We're going to have some really challenges this week for some guys to continue to get playing time. We're going to put them in some competitive situations this week, and it'll be a very, very good week of practice for us. I expect us to be a better football team this week.
With regards to Brian Shore, since we haven't seen as much of him this season, what is he like in practice in terms of working with Vad Lee? What has he picked up with Vad, and how did the reps that he did get so far this season help him on Saturday?
Brian's done an unbelievable job all year long. He practices the same offense that Vad practices. He doesn't do anything any different. Obviously in the ball game, he goes down and we score twice with him in the ball game. So our expectations aren't any different for Brian Shore and anything else. I don't know what he's learned from Vad. I don't know what I don't get all that. I think he's learned the scheme. The way Brian Shore needs to learn the scheme.
And one more question in regards to Saturday and the big picture. What do you hope a day like that can do to a program in terms of recruiting, fan culture, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, we probably had 35 recruits at the ball game. I think we had all but 2 of our 14 commits at the ball game. They got a great atmosphere. They got a great game day experience. They got to see 2 really good teams. and you hope if it doesn't help recruiting, then something's wrong.
Coach, talk about the new helmets you unveiled. Where did that come from? When did you start working on that, and how did that come to making its way to ESPN?
That's been in the process. We've been working on that probably for about a year now. We've got a process of when we want to try to get some things done. We've been talking about it, planning it, and there's a lot of things. We still got other stuff left, so we're not done.
Let's look at William and Mary. They're not a team that commits a lot of turnovers, a lot of penalties. When you look at them, what have you seen, and what makes them so controlled in what they do?
Very good football teams, well coached. Good football players, big physical line. Again, big challenge, much like we just had this past week.
Did you see how Vad was injured? I think people were confused on the play that it happened. What actually happened to Vad?
He got tackled and somebody rolled on his ankle.
Okay. Was it on one play, or was it actually just?
Usually you get hurt on one play.
I didn't know if it was over time. Okay. I guess the decision to leave him in there, were you unsure what his injury was, and did you?
He didn't want to come out. He didn't want to come out of the game.
Okay. Did he get checked on the sideline? Do you know how that process went? I guess
The process is that everybody that gets hurt goes through our trainer, and they get checked on the sideline.
Was he taken somewhere after the game? I guess. What were the course of events for that?
The process after the game, guys go to the training room and get evaluated after the game.
Did he go to the hospital after the game?
No.
Where's he having MRI done today, or when did you say that's happening?
Next question.
Did you talk to his parents? I guess what was kind of the mood around Vad after that happened?
Vad was fine.
He looked pretty emotional leaving the field. I mean, I guess. What did you get a sense of how he was feeling after that?
He was fine.
Coach, I know you've been doing this for a number of years now, and that game on Saturday had various degrees of injuries on both sides. How difficult is it as a coach to return focus to the game after, when you have the status and the injury of a player in the back of your mind?
Right. Yeah. Well, it is. It's a tough deal when you've got a kid laying on the ground. You're not thinking about the football game. That's for sure. You're thinking about his well-being, his health. You're thinking about his parents in the stands. You're thinking about a lot of things other than football. And to go back and then have to restart that game is tough. And to be honest with you, I think it had an effect on our team when they see John Miller laying there on the ground, and it probably had an effect on the other team also. So again, it is a game. And when you got a guy laying on the ground like that, it's truly about his well-being out there. And again, you have to flip a switch to go back and get back into competitive mode. And hats off to our players, their players for being able to do that.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about William Mary's quarterback and what kind of makes him so effective?
I think what makes him effective is he's got a lot of good players around him. They're able to run the ball. They do a great job of running it, which allows him to be effective as a passer and as a runner. When you got two really good running backs, a good offensive line, good tight ends, it really allows a quarterback to be efficient and be able to manage a football game. He does a good job of that.
And talk a little about their defense as well. I know they're not getting up a lot of points per game.
Yeah, they play good, sound defense, good up front. They want to stop the run, do a good job of that. They don't give up a lot of big plays. They're, very talented on both sides of the ball. Again, well-coached football team.
When a guy's a starter, is there any more extra pressure? I mean, is that just natural for a quarterback to have a little more pressure when he's the starter?
I think the position of quarterback obviously brings that with the nature of that position. A little extra pressure, but again, we're really happy where Brian is. He's going to do a really good job. He did Saturday. He did a really good job for us Saturday. So I'm really excited about watching him play. There's been an opportunity to get him in the game some, and we haven't gotten him in the game enough. But I think he's really excited. I think our football team's really excited.
I know you said you wanted him to move a little faster out there when he was in there. Is tempo just something that's going to take some time for him to get down in a game, or what?
No, he runs it every day in our practice.
Okay. Does he truly get the split reps, or does Vad get more than he does in practice? How do you guys split those up?
We split a lot of the reps each week with both quarterbacks.
Is I know people are unfamiliar with him. Is he maybe underrated, or is he an unknown? I mean, is he a guy that can, I guess, how would you evaluate his abilities?
He's a good football player with a lot of ability.
I mean, I see some similarities in the Ohio State situation. What they
There
had
aren't any.
There aren't any
No.
with a quarterback going down or anything like that.
I don't know how we can sit here and say this is a guy that's the, backup quarterback at JMU.
I guess they won with their backup in there. That's kind of what I'm saying.
I hope we win too.
I guess to look at the defense, what is the feeling like when you're watching that film? I guess when you probably watched it yesterday. What emotions are you feeling watching that kind of film?
We didn't play very well.
Did you watch it multiple times, one time, or I guess?
I watch it the same amount of times I watch every team. One time.
One time. Okay. I guess if you were to grade those guys, grade
I
the
did.
defense. How did they grade out? How did the
Not
defense
good.
as a whole?
Not good.
A letter? Do you have a letter grade on that?
No.
I mean, the way you played against Elon seemed pretty good. Is this the
Elon's
case?
not as good as the team we just played.
I guess could you seen a defense performance like that coming against Richmond,
If I could, I would have bottled it and not sold it.
in what ways could this just be a one bad game situation, or is
I
that?
hope it is.
I guess in what ways could it be? I mean, are there signs that this was
You're
your guys
asking
having
me
one?
questions only that man up there can answer.
What do you say to Steve Cease after a game like that?
Let's get our football team and our defense better.
What was he like yesterday?
Awesome.
Awesome. I guess did he have some answers for what you guys were doing wrong, or
Yeah, we didn't tackle. We didn't get off blocks.
is it that simple, or was there anything schematically that Richmond was exposing?
That simple.
Really? Okay.
You just asked me.
I'm just wondering. Is that 720 yards, is that some of the worst defense you've seen, I guess, and where does that rank? I'm just trying to get an idea of, you've coached a lot of defense.
I don't rank worst performances, just like I don't rank really good performances.
720 yards is pretty staggering. I mean, can you think back to a time you've played or been on a defense that was kind of
we got
exposed
beat
like that?
I think we got beat by Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout pretty bad one time. They ran up a bunch of yards and a bunch of points.
And how did you guys come back from that? I mean,
We went to a bowl game, and I think we went to the Big 12 championship.
are you seeing some of the same things out of this team that means they can respond to a game like that?
Different time, different era.
I get.
Coach, talk about Kendall Anderson a little bit from William and Mary. How similar is he to Jacoby Green? He's emerged as a back this year. He's similar in stature, similar in build and weight. Is he a similar type runner as
Yeah,
Jacoby
I
Green?
think so. Again, I have a lot of respect for what they do running the football. They do a little bit different type of run game, so it's not the same run game. It's a little bit more of a zone read type run game. They will get in some traditional offense, but very similar backs, very similar offensive line. Again, a big challenge for us to be better this week than we were last week.
How much play action does William and Mary run, if any?
Yeah, a good bit.
They will?
Yeah,
Okay.
good bit.
Coach, I want to go back and go back to the injury on John Miller and the way you said that the team can get affected like that.
Right.
Two questions about that, or two areas of concept here. With the way that you get your culture as your team and the unity of your team, when a player does get injured, do you see that emotional effect maybe even much more magnified because of the way these guys feel within their internal brotherhood?
Yeah, I think so. That nobody wants to see a teammate get hurt, but especially guys within that unit. Damo Taylor went to school with John Miller, and when I called right after the game to talk to John's parents, the first guy that got on the phone was Damo to tell me John's situation. Okay. It wasn't mom, dad, it was Damo. And to me, that tells you how close guys get. And again, they're all caring about each other's welfare as much as we are caring about their welfare. So you like that closeness about our football team? I really do. And again, I love our football team because of that. Because they are a very close group of guys that care about each other, and not just on the field but off the field. And it's kind of neat to see.
that's the question on your internal culture, but there's also the fraternity of football itself.
Sure.
And I have seen this between Richmond and James Madison before, where a player will get seriously hurt in a game, and the other team, the opposition, pays just as much attention
Yeah.
to that injury. Richmond was out on the field, all on bended knee. Can you talk a little bit about how that kind of permeates within, regardless of the rivalry,
Yeah.
how there is that fraternity there as well?
I think when you're playing any sport and you're in a competitive environment, nobody wants to see anybody get hurt on any other team. Nobody wants that. So when another guy gets hurt on the opposing team, I mean, you obviously have a sense of care for his well-being, regardless of whether you're competing against him or not. And I just think that's just the nature of sports. And that's one of the beauties about sport in general is you can go be fierce competitors, but at the end of the game, it's like at the end of the game, man. At the end of the game, there are a lot of people hugging each other from opposite teams because they care about each other. I mean, for 60 minutes, you're trying to break each other's, nose, but after that, you're trying to roll. You're trying to, that's your guy. So there are a lot of friends on each team. That's usually the case. But you care about your opponent in that way. You don't want to ever see anybody get hurt.
Also want to just add out that I received a lot of email questions about the injuries, and there were probably 2-to-1 the ratio asking about John Miller over Vad Lee, which
Yeah.
I found that was kind of interesting from the folks that contacted me yesterday.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good deal.
All right. Any other questions? Yeah, Dave has
Coach, you have one more question about William and Mary. Looking at their passing game, 40-plus yard passes, they've got, I think, 7. 5 of those were actually 50 yards or longer.
Mm-hmm.
You talk a lot about yards after catch, being able to shake off contact. Are they good at that, or are they using more of a deep route?
No, I think what you get is you get some of both. You get guys that can catch the ball and make a 5-yard gain into a 50-yard gain. They got that kind of talented receiver. I think the other thing is anytime you're able to run the ball effectively, you allow yourself one-on-one passing opportunities.
I guess kind of going off that, your pass defense on Saturday, it seemed like there was some big plays. Were there any common threads in some of those plays, or what was kind of the problem there?
We didn't make enough plays.
Okay, Curtis Oliver, I guess it looked like kind of they were going after him some. How did he play on Saturday? I mean,
I think he gave up a couple plays, but other than that, he played pretty decent.
Okay, is there anything those guys can do when you just don't make a play? I mean, is there any schematically things you could change to slow those two guys down?
Play the next play.
I guess I was just going to ask Simeon Robinson, is he planning to come back this week, or is there any plan to bring him back?
Possibly.
Any other questions? Okay, that'll wrap it up this week as the Dukes get on the road. They're on the road for their next 2 games as well as a bye week, again back home on November 21st against the Villanova Wildcats. We'll be back here next Monday to talk about the Dukes game at William and Mary as the Dukes at the Tribe. 4 o'clock is the kickoff on Saturday. Thank you for joining us this week here at O'Neill's Grill on University Boulevard in Harrisonburg.